Hi, I'm Dr. Francesca Zampollo, and this is a food design article review. And the article that I have for you today is Service Design for Experience-Centric Services. The article is not specifically on food services, but I think it provides spectacular content for any food service designer. So, whether you are designing a food service or maybe you own a food service but you want to change things here and there, redesign some aspects, these are going to be great inputs for you. Just as a side note, a service is something that I use but I do not own. So in our field of food design, you are a food service designer if you are designing restaurants and cafes, but also hot dog carts and popcorn stands at the movies. Okay, the wonderful and very useful piece of knowledge that this article gives us is a theory-based set of 6 propositions of the experience-centric service. The literature clearly says that the more people like their experience of a service, the more their enjoyment and loyalty increases. So if you are designing a restaurant or a cafe, for example, here are 6 things you should consider to pursue customer enjoyment and loyalty. Proposition number 1. The design of experience-centric services involves designing a series of encounters and cues. The design of experience-centric services involves orchestrating the cues that are given by the products, the interactions, and the environment. The literature distinguishes between mechanic cues, those generated by things like furniture, lighting, places, and humanics cues, those generated by people, like the behavior of the employees, for example. These cues, remember, develop over time. So what your food designer should do is orchestrating different cues that occur at different points in space and time, which means that you should pay attention and design all the touch points in your service, all the points where people touch your service. If you are designing a cafe, for example, remember that people's experience of your cafe starts way earlier actually entering the space. Advertisement, website, Facebook page, and finishes after they have left the space itself, with their memory and what they tell to their friends. So design each one of these touch points, and most importantly, create cohesiveness. Proposition number 2. The design of experience-centric services involves sensory design. Sensory design means designing for the senses. So you should design the entire collection of tangible service elements and how these trigger people's senses. Specifically, you should design all the elements of the environment where the service is delivered or where the experience happens. The physical environment can be designed to evoke particular emotions or responses, and the design and management of atmospheric variable is vital for the creation of compelling service experiences. Remember that environmental dimensions are perceived by both customers and employees and cause in both cognitive, emotional, and psychological responses. These internal responses influence the interaction between customers and the interaction between customers and employees. For example, Virgin Atlantic has a mood lighting system on several of their aircrafts that puts people in the right mood for takeoff, eating, and sleeping. So remember to design for all 5 senses, not just 1 or 2. In the world of food design, because food is the only material that triggers all 5 senses, this should be easier. Your goal is to please all 5 senses, to create positive, pleasing triggers for all 5 senses. Finally, remember, the more effectively your experience triggers the senses, the more memorable this experience will be. Proposition number 3. The design of experience-centric services involves requiring the frontline employees to engage with customers. Another way of influencing customers' emotions and engaging them is through service employees. They are there and they are an integral part of service design. They can also be a valuable resource for establishing an emotional connection with customers. In experience-centric services, frontline employees can be asked to connect with customers on a personal and emotional level. Remember, employees are humanics cues. When employees attempt to engage with customers, they conduct emotional labor. One type of emotional labor is what is called rapport. Rapport relates to enjoyable interactions, including feelings of care and friendliness, and a personal connection based on psychological similarity and a genuine interest in the other party. So remember that employees are a great resource of your service and they can do way more than being smiley and polite. Proposition number 4. The design of experience-centric services involves paying attention to the dramatic structure of events. For the creation of emotional effects in services, the sequence, progression, and duration of events is important, just as it is in plays, movies, and novels. In a dramatic structure, the plot often follows an arc-like structure of exposition, rising action, climax, and falling action. Customers do not remember every single moment of an experience. Instead, they remember the trend in the sequence of pain and pleasure. They remember high points, low points, and the ending. The end of an experience has a greater impact on a customer's perception than the beginning. So, remember to design the build-up and the climax point, something amazing that happens to your customers, and remember to design a fantastic end to their experience. Proposition number 5. The design of experience-centric services involves managing the presence of fellow customers, something I feel most food services forget. Customers' experience is influenced not only by their interaction with the service providers, but also with the other customers present. This particularly applies to situations in which customers share a setting simultaneously, like eating at a restaurant or eating on an airplane. The impact is greater when customers are in close proximity to one another, when they have to share a space or resources, like a communal microwave or salt and pepper, and when waiting is involved. The presence of fellow customers can enhance or damage customer experience. On the other hand, the opportunity to socialize or bond with other customers can satisfy social needs and make an experience more enjoyable. One way of addressing the value of fellow customers is by establishing a brand community that stimulates customers to share their experience. There are cafes or pubs with the walls covered in notes, and there are cafes and restaurants that allow customers to propose a drink or a recipe. And the following week, the special is Mary from Ireland's carrot cake. I am connecting with Mary even if I don't know her, and then I go on the cafe's Facebook page and I write how much I love that cake, and she might reply. Proposition number 6. The design of experience-centric services involves closely coupling the backstage employees with the front stage experience. Most service organizations can be characterized as having two parts, the front office and the back office. Backstage activities are typically treated separately from front stage activities and aim at increasing efficiency, productivity, and control. But in the performing arts, from which we can learn a lot, backstage work is not treated as a separate entity. Rather, it is characterized by its close connection to the front stage, to create real support to the front stage event. In experience-centric services, the back office employees help create the contextual elements of an experience. That means that as the authors of this article argue, they should be closely linked to the front stage experience. To improve the backstage connection with the front stage experience, the literature suggests few options. For example, having front office and back office employees share desks or space. See, for example, your open kitchen restaurants. Instituting outreach programs in which back office employees actively approach customers. See, for example, the restaurant managers serving customers or a waiter following the sommelier, learning what he does and how what he does influences the customer experience. And creating show-off jobs in which back office employees perform their tasks in front of customers. So remember that services work better when the backstage employees understand how what they do influences the front stage, and vice versa. Great ideas can come when these two work together. Okay, so to sum up, if you are designing a food service or if you are redesigning a food service, you should design a series of encounters and cues. Design for all 5 senses. Design ways for your front stage employees to interact with customers and create a rapport. Design the dramatic structure of your customer's experience. Design activities to best make use of the presence of fellow customers. And finally, couple together backstage and front stage. And if you're interested in food design, you might be interested in the online school of food design. The online school with online courses that will give you all the information you need and will guide you through the process to design your food service. So, I food design. Do you? If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and feel free to click on subscribe to never miss another video on food design. Thank you for watching and happy food design! Food design services involves more effectively. Food design is by creating. Paris from Ireland's. If I don't know her, but if there's following ideas can come from a series of cues. If you are designing to create positive designs that will make you in the right mood.